All right, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to be getting into solving more complex equations. This is all review from last year. We are going to add in one little piece, and that's going to be to state the property that justifies each step. Well, right, because we have to be able to know, well, why are we doing, or why are we able to do what we do? So I'm going to list the steps and the property. So the first step is to clear the parentheses. That is your distributive property. Okay, right, we've got to get rid of those parentheses. Multiply what's on the outside by everything on the inside. Second step is to combine like terms. And that is a property that's called substitution. Because I can take out or replace or substitute for anything that's equal. Third step, cancel my constant. That's my additive inverse. And we wrote that down the other day as well. Inverse. And then the last step is to cancel your constant. I'm sorry, cancel your coefficient, I apologize, which is your multiplicative inverse. And I abbreviated multiplicative. Okay, so let's see how we do this. First, I'm going to go through and solve the equation, and then I'm going to talk about the steps. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I have to get rid of those parentheses. So in order to do that, I have to take what's on the outside, and I'm going to multiply it by each thing on the inside. I'm also going to draw my line through the equal sign. I know some of you like it, some of you don't. It's up to you. But negative 4 times negative 6 is 24x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Okay? So far, so good. Actually, I think I'm going to do the steps right now as well. So the step that I just did was my distributive property. Okay, now I have to, I don't have any like terms, because like terms have to be on the same side of the equal sign. But what I can do is now I have to take and I have to cancel my constant. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, just like we did yesterday. I'm going to bring down 24x. 12 minus 12 is 0. Well, I actually just did two properties. The first one, the canceling the 12, is my, excuse me, additive inverse. And anytime you're going to do an additive inverse, your next step is substitution, because you really are combining your like terms. Now I have to cancel the 24x, so I have to divide by 24. And when I divide by 24, that's my multiplicative inverse, which is going to leave me, I'm actually going to do the math now. 0 divided by 24 is 0. That's a substitution. So yes, it seems silly. You're going to do more of this when you take algebra next year. Okay, so for this problem, I'm going to go through, draw my line. First thing I have to do is get rid of those parentheses, right? And we're not going to let fractions scare us. So that's going to give me 2/5 equals 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. 1/3 of 12 is 4. All right, the property that was, distribute. Okay, I don't have any like terms, so just like before, now I'm going to have to cancel my constant, so I have to add 4 to both sides. The property that is, additive inverse. Now when I'm going to do the math, that's the substitution, where I'm going to take out and actually do what it says. So 4 plus 2/5 is 4 2/5 equals 2/3 m. Now I have to divide by 2/3. And I'm going to do all of that in my calculator. So you better know how to use your calculators, whether they're on your iPad or whether they are one of the regular ones. 4 2/5 divided by 2/3 is going to give me 6 3/5. The two properties that I just did, multiplicative inverse and substitution. Okay, let's try number 3. So in number 3, I don't have any parentheses, so then I look for like terms, and like terms are on the same side of the equal sign. So I have to do those first. I have to put 7x and x together. Well, 7x, and remember if we don't see a number in front, it's a 1. So 7x's and 1x's give me 8x. Ooh, I forgot to write down the rest of it. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Okay, so that's going to give me 8x minus 4 equals 12. That's a substitution property. Okay, now I have to cancel my constant. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Anytime I add or cancel the constant, it's your additive inverse. That's going to give me 8x. 12 plus 4 is 16. That's a substitution. I'm taking out what I have and I'm putting it in. Divide both sides by 8. So that was the multiplicative inverse and substitution. All right, the next few problems, I just want to go through and we're going to try to make sure we can just get the right answer and not worry about the properties for these few. So over here, I don't have any parentheses, but I do have a whole bunch of like terms. So I have an x, and an x. So I'm going to copy over my 55. I have 3 x's. I also have some constants I can put together. So I'm going to put together positive 3 and negative 8, which is going to be negative 5, so I write it as a minus. Sorry, it's so messy there. Now I have to cancel my constant, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So that's 60 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3, so 20 equals x. Hopefully so far so good. Okay, number 5. So this one's a little bit weird, but this basically acts like there's some parentheses here. So I'm going to put, I have to do this top part first. So I'm going to put my 2 c's together. So I'm going to have 2c plus 2 over 4 equals 189.5. Well, now I have to cancel, believe it or not, I have to cancel this 4 first. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. So that's going to give me 2c plus 2. And if I do 189.5 times 4, gives me 758. That's a pretty big number. That's okay. Now I can subtract and do my constant. So 2c equals 756. Divide by 2. So 756 divided by 2 is going to give me 378. All right, number 6. I have to do my parentheses first. So we're going to have 37 equals negative 3. 5 times p is 5p. 5 times 6 is 30. Now I'm going to put my like terms together. And like terms are always on the same side of the equal sign. So we're going to have 5p plus 27. Right? Negative 3 and 30 is 27. Subtract 27 from both sides. So 10 equals 5p. Divide by 5. So 2 equals p. All right, one more. Hardest one of the day, but we got this, right? So go through. I have to take care of the parentheses first, but what I see out front is just a minus sign. Well, that really means I have to multiply by negative 1. And Mr. Bush and I did this last year. So negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3x. And then I'm just copying the rest of it down. Finding my like terms, negative x and 3x is 2x. And negative 5 and negative 2 is negative 7, so we write it as a minus. Add 7 to both sides. So 2x is 16. Divide by 2, and you get x equals 8. Okay, so I know that was a lot, but it is all review except for adding the properties, and we'll only do that for a few of the problems. Any questions? Bring them to class, and have a good night.